The climate crisis is a racist crisis. Despite doing the least to cause it, the Global South faced the brunt of climate breakdown, whether it's hundreds losing their lives to Cyclone Idai in Mozambique, to farmers losing their livelihoods to drought in Nicaragua. The poorest 50% of the world's population are responsible for just 10% of global emissions. The UK, meanwhile, is the fifth biggest emitter globally. Britain grew its wealth and power off the back of the violent extraction and burning of fossil fuels, and this continues to this day in the form of large global corporations. And the legacies of colonialism means that a disproportionate amount of the global working class facing the brunt of climate breakdown are black and brown. Over 200 million people were displaced by disasters out of their control between 2008 and 2015. And how does Europe respond? By building an inhumane fortress that drowns hundreds of people in the Mediterranean. But we will never know exactly how many people have died at the hands of Fortress Europe. Their bodies simply aren't counted. And if you look across the Atlantic, the US has recently sent back people who are fleeing the Bahamas hurricane. To put it bluntly, we're entering a stage of climate apartheid. So when we talk about a Green New Deal, we need to be very clear that it must restore power to working classes all across the world. That's why Labour for a Green New Deal are demanding that we go zero carbon by 2030. Low-lying nations have long said that it's 1.5 to stay alive. That means essentially that anything above 1.5 degree warming is a death sentence for millions across the globe. Solidarity demands that we do everything in our power to heed that call. And that includes cutting all ties with the fossil fuel industry, which is driving us over the climate cliff. Secondly, we need to transfer finance, knowledge, and technology to the Global South in an act of solidarity, not charity. To do so, we can build on Labour's recent policy announcement that any innovations developed here will be shared freely with the countries of the Global South. Thirdly, we need to dramatically change the role Britain plays in the international stage. This means shutting down tax havens, making polluters pay, and also supporting the demands of Global South and Indigenous peoples when it comes to climate negotiations, rather than those of the corporations. It also means transforming international trade and finance to serve the global many, not the corporate few. Finally, recognising that climate breakdown is already here, we must support a universal right to move as well as the right to stay. People have a right to not be displaced from their homes, but for those who are, whether it's fleeing climate breakdown, persecution, conflict, or anything else, those people must be able to choose where they settle. This means dismantling the hostile environment, it means welcoming migrants, and building a new society that can work for everyone. The Green New Deal recognises that not one of us can be free until everybody is free.